Okay, moving on with the build. So I did a complete unboxing of this model kit, and I showed you everything that's in it. So if you want to check it out, I'm actually making a playlist for the Enterprise, Captain Pike's Enterprise, and we're going to be doing it from Star Trek Strange New Worlds, not Discovery. There's not a ton of differences, but there are a few, and we'll go through that in the build. So I think the first thing we need to do is we're going to take the parts and we're going to actually prep the parts. And again, it's not going to be a big ship. You can see how small it is. But we still need to prep it. And I don't know, you can see the painting guide. When it comes to the painting guide, those of you that follow my channel, you may have seen I did the U.S.S. Titan. And I like the Rust-Oleum, the chrome finish. It came out looking really good, almost like perfect to what she was on screen. You see, she has kind of like a silver effect. And when you use this paint on it, and the decals go over it, it's going to look fantastic. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take the parts. Let's get them out of the plastic now. And you can see the base, the primary hull. You can see the deflector dish, the deflector dish housing, and we have the nacelles. Now it's going to be a little tricky lighting the nacelles because this is one piece. So I'm not quite sure how we're going to do it, but we will do it. We're going to be ending up using the, I believe this is the 30 gauge wire, and you can see how thin that is, and that's what we're going to need to run it into the nacelles, but that's going to be later on. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to prep the parts. So I'm going to wash them in warm soapy water. We're going to get all the release agent off, and we're going to prepare it for painting. What we're going to do first is I'm going to do the inside, and I'm going to paint the insides black for light blocking purposes. And once everything is done, we're going to put the chrome paint on, and the chrome paint is going to reflect all the light on the inside because we don't have a lot of area to work with. So why don't we go ahead right now, and we're going to take everything over and we're going to wash all the release agent off of the parts. Okay, so we washed everything, washed off all the release agent, and what we're going to do now is we're going to wait for them to dry. And once they're dry, we're going to put on our first coat of paint for the light blocking, and that'll be the black. So when this is dry, we'll be ready to move on. Okay, so I'm going to give it a coat of the black. This is going to be for light blocking, and it doesn't have to be a real super heavy coat, just like that. And when that's dry, we'll flip it over and we'll do the other side. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip them over. And originally I was just going to do the inside, but I want it to be really well light blocked because the lights are going to be pretty bright on the inside. So we're going to do the black on both sides. Plus, I think the black background is going to look good when we put the silver on. So I'm going to put another coat on the base. The stand itself, the rod, I want to make it gold. Let's do the saucer section. And we got the bridge area. primary hull. Again, we don't need a lot, but I do want to make sure it's light blocked. There we are. And we'll give this a while to dry. Even when it dries now, we're going to have to wait for it to cure. And then we're going to put the finish coat, and we're going to use the chrome, and it's going to look really good, especially once the decals are. Okay, so it had some time to dry, and it's looking pretty good. And I think what we're going to do now is we're going to flip it over, and we're going to do the reflective inside. We're going to do the chrome paint. And let's start with the saucer section. Make it nice and reflective. There. And what we're going to do is when it's dry, we'll do the outside of the ship. And she's going to start to look pretty good. I actually think I'm going to do the nacelle pylons, so that looks good. And when that's dry, we'll flip it over and we'll do the outside of the ship. Okay, so the paint had time to dry, and what we're going to do now is I'm going to flip it over. We're going to do the outer part of the ship because it's starting to get dark. It's starting to lose daylight, and I want to make sure that everything is painted. So I'm going to start with the bottom of the saucer section. We're going to go around the edges. Secondary hull. The nacelle pylons. And then the pylons. So we're going to let that dry, and we'll be able to move on. Okay, so everything's dry, and I think I'm going to put the base to the side. We'll do that later. And I think we can start taking the pieces off the tree. When it comes to doing the parts of the ship, you can see how really tiny the nacelles are. And I'm thinking it's a good thing that we put the black on both sides, and then we put the finish coat, because the light block is going to be really, really well. See that? The light block is fantastic, so you can put a lot of light in there, and you can see how nothing's coming through, only the light for the areas that are supposed to be lit. All right. I think what we're going to do first, looking at the instructions, well, they actually have the nacelles first. And let's see. I think I want to go with the saucer section. We're going to do this first. So we're going to put this tree aside, and this has got the nacelles and nacelle pylons. And let's take the saucer section off the tree. And see, the areas will smooth that out really quick. And then what we can do is we can always, we'll just do the little touch up that we need. Yeah, it's nice and smooth. And like I said, we'll do the little touch-ups with the silver. And you guys may be looking at this and thinking that it's not going to look good, but like I said, when we did the Titan, the way she appeared on screen was the same kind of like a silvery effect, and this paint ended up working really well. And even if you look at the box art, you can see the kind of chrome, almost like finish. And when we put the Aztec and decals on, it's going to bring down the shine, and I think it's going to look really well. All right, let's do the top section. And get as close as we can. And the rest on this tree, looks like we have the deflector dish housing. We'll put that aside for now. And there's not as much. We gotta smooth down with this part. There. Let me show you how she's going to go together. We've got the pins, the little reservoirs, and the pins. And this is a snap kit, but of course we're going to use glue. But look at how tiny and thin it is. So let me show you the lights we're going to use. We're actually going to use the small SMDs. I don't know if you can even see that. But these are the lights that we're going to use to light the inside. And I'm thinking about when it comes to the beacons, I was thinking about running fiber optics. It's like this. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I was thinking about using fiber optics for the beacon flashes. Well, my friends, everything is painted, and we're ready to move on to my favorite part of the build, lighting. And we're going to be doing the impulse engines, and we're going to be doing the beacons, and I'm wondering if we'll be lighting the top. And this is actually one piece. Let me show you guys. I think it's in the box still. The clear pieces, yep. So the clear piece that's going to light this section of the primary hull as well as the bridge area is one piece. So I'm thinking we're going to light this section, and theoretically the light should travel. So, and again, the SMDs are so small, if we need to put a couple of them, we'll be able to do it just because they're so tiny, and it won't be an issue. Obviously, we can't use the regular LEDs because the wire is going to be way too thick and the bulbs are going to be too big. And let me show you guys, we're going to be using the 30 gauge wire. You can see how it's so thin, it's almost like a fiber optic cable. So that's what we'll be doing, and I'm going to do it as close to the screen as possible. We're going to be going by Star Trek Strange New Worlds, not Discovery. But my friends, thank you for watching this video, and like I said, we needed to wash, prep, and paint the parts. That's all set, so now we're ready to move on to my favorite, and that's going to be lighting the ship. So my next video, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do all the lighting.